Hello, distinguished professors. My name is Qingqing Zhang. I'm from Faculty of Languages and Linguistics, University of Malaya. I'm very honored to share my paper with you. The title of my paper is Emily Brandt's Wuthering Heights in China, Translation, Dissemination, and Significance. This is my framework, and my presentation will be divided into 5 parts based on my framework. Number 1. Introduction and Literature Review. Wuthering Heights was written by British writer Emily Bronte, and it was her only novel that took an important place in world literature. This novel was published in 1847. Its symbolic plots, special narrative devices, profound theme, sophisticated character connections endowed Wuthering Heights with great artistic and literary values. It was in the 1930s that Wuthering Heights was introduced to China. Its first completed Chinese translated version was published by the Commercial Press in 1946. The translator was Liang Shiqiu. It was retranslated by many translators, and now there are more than 50 Chinese translated versions. Searching the keywords Wuthering Heights on the Chinese online database CNKI, Chinese National Knowledge Infrastructure. From the year 1980 to 2021, the number of research papers related to Wuthering Heights that published on academic journals was over 10,000. The perspectives of studies conducted on it were various, which can be summarized in the following 4 aspects. 1. Comparative study of different Chinese translated versions from the perspective of translation theories. 2. Comparative study of different Chinese translated versions from the perspective of linguistics. 3. Comparative study between Wuthering Heights and other works from the perspective of comparative literature. 4. Interpreting the work from the perspective of feminism, Gothic tradition, theme and narratology, and character analysis, etc. Part 2. The translation of Wuthering Heights in China. This is Homer's basic map of translation studies and presented by Turing. I will adopt descriptive translation studies. My research is product-oriented. Product-oriented descriptive translation studies examines existing translations. This involves the description or analysis of a single source text to target text pair or a comparative analysis of several target texts of the same source text. I took efforts to answer the 3 questions. How was Wuthering Heights introduced to China? Who were the main translators and what kind of translation strategies did they make? Why did the translators make different translation strategies and what purposes did they achieve? I presented an overview of Chinese translated versions of Wuthering Heights in China. Making a comparative study of 3 Chinese translated versions appeared in the 1950s, 1980s, and 1990s from the perspective of manipulation theory. In the light of the 3 core concepts, ideology, poetics, and patronage, I analyzed the 3 translated versions in a broader social-cultural background and to show their characteristics. The studies were descriptive translation studies and diachronic studies. In terms of the manipulation of ideology, and made a comparative study of the three Chinese translated versions by presenting translators' different translation strategies in the content of preface and addition of footnotes. In terms of the manipulation of poetics, I made a comparative study of the three Chinese translated versions by presenting translators' different translation strategies in the translation of vocabulary, sentence, and paragraph. I also analyzed the patronage of the three Chinese translated versions. Part 3. The Dissemination of Wuthering Heights in China. Those are the research questions for the dissemination of Wuthering Heights in China. I analyzed the dissemination process of Wuthering Heights from the perspective of Pierre Bourdieu's field theory in sociology, the three core terms, field, capital, and habitus. According to Bourdieu, literary field is a force field as well as a field of struggles which aim at transforming or maintaining the established relation of forces. Each of the agents commits the force, or the capital, that he has acquired through previous struggles to the strategies that depend for their general direction on his position in the power struggle, that is, on his specific capital. The reception and transmission of Wuthering Heights in China took place in a literary field. The transmission process of Wuthering Heights can be analyzed from three aspects in the light of field theory. This is the framework of agents proposed by Microhawks and can be applied to describe the dissemination and reception of Wuthering Heights. I focused on the following aspects: criticism, literary education, and public libraries. This paper presented the library collection of Wuthering Heights in National Library of China. The sales volume of Wuthering Heights in China's main online retailer and the comments on Wuthering Heights made by Chinese academic scholars. National Library of China is situated in Beijing, which is one of the oldest national library in China, and it is one of the world's advanced and largest library. Its collection of books is more than 40 million volumes. Searching the title Wuthering Heights on its online system, National Digital Library of China, the volume of the book is 120, which contain all of its Chinese translated versions. Qingqing.com is one of the main online book retailers in China. Wuthering Heights sales volume and comments made by buyers on this website can reflect its reception and transmission in China to some extent. Searching the title Wuthering Heights on Qingdong.com, the sales volume of each Chinese translated version is different, and it ranges from several hundred to 500,000. For each translated Chinese version, the number of comments is different, which ranges from several hundred to 1 million. The number is relatively high, and Wuthering Heights is popular among Chinese readers. Academic scholars' comments on Wuthering Heights will help it to accumulate cultural capital so as to promote its acceptance and transmission in China. Searching the keywords Wuthering Heights on the Chinese online database CNKI, Chinese National Knowledge Infrastructure. From the year 1980 to 2021, the number of research papers related to Wuthering Heights that published on academic journals was over 10,000. The number of the articles that relevant to this study is 2,669. Researchers made comments on this work from various perspectives. Firstly, Gothic features. Secondly, narrative mode. Thirdly, theme. Fourthly, researches of one Chinese translated version from certain perspectives. There are also comparative studies of different versions of Wuthering Heights from several perspectives. For instance, translation theories, linguistics, comparative research between Wuthering Heights and other works from the perspective of comparative literature. In conclusion, the past 3 decades witnessed the fruitful results made on the research in Wuthering Heights versions, which promote the work, accumulate much cultural capital, so as to make contribution to its dissemination in China. Part 4. The significance of Wuthering Heights in China. This part will be divided into 2 parts. First, influence on the creation of Chinese literature. And second, dissemination of Wuthering Heights through mass media in China. Wuthering Heights had attracted Chinese scholars' attention in the past 9 decades, and some Chinese contemporary writers imitated Emily Bronte in creation. For instance, Zhang Ailing, a brilliant Chinese contemporary writer, was influenced by Emily Bronte in writing. Similarities can be observed between the two writers. First, Zhang Ailing created a film script in 1965, which entitled 魂归离恨天, which was the same Chinese translated title as a Hollywood film adapted from Wuthering Heights, showed in China in 1945. According to Feng Xi, Zhang Ailing's film script was similar to Wuthering Heights in the following 3 aspects. Firstly, the reader was told the story in flashback, just as Wuthering Heights. Secondly, the plot and characters of the film script was similar to Wuthering Heights. Both of them presented a love story between 2 families, and love and revenge were themes. Thirdly, the ghost, the imaginary, appeared in a similar context in the film script, just as the ghost in Wuthering Heights, which created gloomy atmosphere. In conclusion, the story created in Zhang Ailing's film script was similar to Wuthering Heights to a large extent. The dissemination of Wuthering Heights through mass media in China. I focused on the film adapted from Wuthering Heights. The film adaptation of Wuthering Heights began in America in 1939. It was a renowned American director named William Wyler first adapted this brilliant novel, and the film was produced by Samuel Goldwyn Company. The film released in Nanking Theatre in China in the same year, which promoted the novel's dissemination in China. Since then, many directors interpreted Wuthering Heights from various angles during different ages. Currently in China, according to the introduction on Douban.com, one of the largest Chinese websites that provides information of film, Chinese viewers have access to several film adaptations of Wuthering Heights that are produced in different periods of time. Analyzing the comments made by Chinese viewers on this website, we can draw a conclusion that the film adaptations attracted many Chinese viewers, and many people admitted that after watching the film adaptation, they began to understand the original work and try to read the novel. Part 5 Conclusion. This paper described Wuthering Heights' translation, dissemination, and significance in China. The past 9 decades witnessed the translation and dissemination of Wuthering Heights in China. This novel motivated Chinese readers, writers, and scholars. It was British literary classic and has been achieved great popularity in China. The basis is Emily Bronte's status in British literature and the unique charm of Wuthering Heights. The prerequisite is Chinese scholars' efforts in translation and research on Wuthering Heights, and the guarantee is Chinese readers' passion on it. This is reference. I just presented some articles that I quoted in my paper. Thank you very much.